What screams, "I have no life"? The guy in my office who monitors how long everyone has been away from their computer. Calling cops on kids with a lemonade stand. Somebody had to do that in my town last summer, but it's because a teenager with a gun robbed a lemonade stand. People who spend their days arguing with strangers on Facebook. But arguing on Reddit is actually pretty cool to do. No fucking losers here, baby. Real winners argue with ChatGPT. Making fun of other people's hobbies. Scrolling on Reddit, answering questions so I can get more karma points. I think that's all the "I have no life" evidence you need. If your partner said for your birthday, "I will do any sexual fantasy you want, no matter what it is," what would you choose? When my wife and I had only been dating a few months, we were at a house party and I was wearing a kilt. I went out to smoke and she pulled me around the side of the house, jacked me off and blew me. Nothing like that has happened since, and I really want it to. So, that. My girl gave me a coupon like this for my 30th a few weeks ago. I can't decide. Have him clean the house in the nude. What job is useless? My very first job. I'm a toxicologist and was hired by a very big private laboratory. My main job was to sort and redirect case files depending on the time at which the results came out. The documents were sent to me in Excel. I was getting paid to just click sort by date descendingly. Wow, this blew up. We have a specific security guard we've had for 13 plus years now, and it's pretty useless. The security guard lives there and has a TV. He watches telenovelas most of the time. All he does is open the gate and doesn't even bother to even inspect though, since according to his logic, 99% of people who can afford a car aren't bad or harmful people. He doesn't ask names or house numbers, just opens the gate whenever he sees a car. Anyone can come in if they have a car. He doesn't even inspect faces. And do you know the worst part? When moving into the Pravada, you are supplied with your own control remote. The gates are also automatic. I took a job scheduling residential HVAC technicians for a mid-sized company after a few years of working in the field. A few months in, the company ended its residential program to focus on commercial. Thing is, they already had commercial schedulers. My boss told me she'd find me a new role, but then she took another job elsewhere and left. I stayed as a scheduler with no one to schedule in a department that no longer existed. No one in the office seemed to realize this, and for over half a decade, I would show up, make friendly conversation in the break room while making my coffee, and then literally just did nothing the rest of the day. Having left a stressful job, it was glorious. Occasionally, someone would ask me an HVAC or system-related question over email, and that was it. I made sure everyone liked me by bringing in bagels every Monday and donuts every Friday. Then COVID happened, and now I was doing nothing at home. When I learned the company was being sold, I figured I wouldn't tempt fate anymore and applied elsewhere. My department head gave a glowing recommendation, having no idea what I even did, but knowing I was friendly and helped him jump his car a few times. TLDR, the department I was admitting was downsized, but they forgot about me, and I essentially took a 6-year paid vacation. Telemarketers. I don't know a single person who has actually purchased something from a telemarketer. Maybe it's something the older generation does, but everyone hates them and immediately hangs up on them around me. Check it out. Last year I had to go to India to visit a customer at a government facility. They had a lot of problems with little monkeys getting into the building. The solution? Hire a guy with a big monkey on a lead to scare away the little monkeys. Actually, Chief Monkey Scarer sounds like an awesome job. Imagine the business cards. What's the dumbest myth people today believe? Lie detectors as a literal thing. There's a reason they aren't admissible as evidence in court in most places. If you drop a penny off a skyscraper, it will eventually fall fast enough to puncture someone's skull. By that logic, raindrops would hurt like a bitch or straight up kill ya. Not to mention hail. Black belts have to register their fist as weapons. I can't believe I was dumb enough to fall for that. That you eat spiders in your sleep. Spiders will not knowingly walk into a predator's mouth. They can sense both the heartbeat, heat, and noise from humans. All things that would alert them not to go into our mouth. When I had cancer a few years back and was doing chemotherapy, I had people who constantly questioned that I actually had cancer due to the fact that my hair didn't fall out until I was actually in remission. Had been off chemo for about 2 to 3 weeks when my hair started gradually thinning and falling out. It's a complete myth that every single person's hair will have the same reaction to chemo. Some people lose hair right away, some don't. Everybody is different. That Einstein failed his grade school math class. It was the subject of a Ripley's Believe It or Not column in 1935, and Einstein himself refuted the article. In primary school, he had been at the top of class, and by 15, he had mastered differential and integral calculus. What has been your most bone-chilling, hair-raising, let's get the hell out of here experience? I don't tell this story often, but this seems like a good place. Back in college, I used to drive up the Oregon coast on weekends, then just crash in my car when I got tired. I woke up from a nap in the driver's seat and something just didn't feel quite right. It was just dusk and the light was fading pretty fast. I yawned and stretched, and as I did so, I turned my head to the side and just caught a face ducking down below my rear passenger window. I went to hit the lock button just to make sure, and in my panic, I accidentally unlocked the doors briefly and then locked them again. I stared at the windows for a few minutes, knowing that someone was crouching just out of sight. Eventually, I started the car and thought I heard a scuffing sound. Whoever it was didn't reappear, but that was enough for me. As I noped out of there and pulled out back onto Highway 101, I glanced back and a bald figure in a red t-shirt with something wrapped around his face booked it into the woods on the side of the road. That was the end of that weekend trip. I drove the 2 hours back to my dorm room, white-knuckled hands locked on the steering wheel. I had to pull over a few miles down the road though to deal with the adrenaline shakes. One time I was out in Colorado with some buddies hiking near the top of a mountain. Some bad weather started to roll in, but the top was only 15 minutes away, so I went ahead while they went back down. As I was getting to the top, I felt static in the air and the hair in my head started to stand up. I immediately started to panic because I thought I was about to get struck by lightning, so naturally I ran down without ever getting to the top. I'm not sure if I was gonna get struck, but I sure as hell wasn't sticking around to find out. Hiking in the Rocky Mountains on a trail I knew pretty well. I was leading a group of kids, maybe 20 or so middle school age children from the camp where I worked. I turned a corner and saw a jawbone of a deer. Pretty cool. Showed it to the kids. Didn't have any flesh on it, so I assumed it was pretty old. 100 feet further down the trail, I find another bone. Femur maybe. I specialize in insect populations, not deer anatomy. This one looked a little fresher. Another ways down, another bone. I'm getting a little nervous at this point, so I explained that we should probably turn around and head back. My students all groan that they want to see more dead stuff, but I shepherd them down the train and back to camp. 2 days later, we got a call at the camp that someone had been attacked in the area by a mountain lion. Apparently, a mountain lion had set itself up in the caves on the cliffside, and it had gotten pissed when someone got too close. I'm glad we left the area, even if my students would have loved to see more dead stuff. I must have been around 10 or 12 when this happened. I was walking back home one afternoon around 3 or 4 p.m. after strolling around the neighborhood, which was usually very safe, friendly, and quiet. I was on the opposite side of the block, the houses behind ours, which wasn't an issue because there happened to be a park that went across the whole block and connected to the other side, so you didn't have to go around the whole block. So I was only a few houses away. I went through the park, a park I had played at my entire childhood without paying much attention. When about halfway through, this guy who I didn't know, definitely older than me, wearing a hoodie, started calling me. "Dude, come over here one sec." What do you want? "Come here. I just want to ask you something." "Okay, ask me from over there." No, come over, please." "No, tell me from over there." At that point, another dude that was sitting next to him gets upset. I hear a, "That's it!" And they both stood up quickly and started making their way towards me. I can't recall how far they chased after me, but my instincts just told me to run like hell, and I did. To this day, I still don't know if they were going to mug me, if they were just taking the piss, or what was happening, but it definitely scared Kid Me.